Hello, fellow woodturners. So I've got one of these Delta lathes that was fantastic in its time, but then had one of the Reeves drives fail. And so it's a Delta 47 600 12-inch variably speed wood lathe. And the Reeves drive went bad. And I watched a few videos on YouTube related to how this Reeves drive is supposed to work. And it worked great when it was brand new, and of course, like everything else, it wears out. You can see that this side pulley here, that's part of the variable speed mechanism, just wore out. It just straight wore out. The set key was gone. Any of the metal that was supposed to connect inside the other half of the pulley was missing. Surprisingly, the set screw was still there, which you can see is still down in the shaft there. And it wobbles, right? And it's got a wobble to it. So I was looking on eBay and Amazon, and what can I get for variable speed motors to replace this Delta motor, or possibly a new Reeves drive. And Reeves drives they're not being made by Delta anymore, so there's a off-market manufacturer, and it's like, well, a couple other guys have been replacing their motors with DC powered motors from Treadmills. So I took that path, and I looked on Craigslist, and I found a a whole treadmill for $20, and I picked it up and I took the whole thing apart. The one thing I want to make sure you guys do, if you happen to do this path, the treadmill path, is to save the voltage diagram. So I got a Crosswalk GT, which was a 2.5 horse DC powered motor, which was great. I took the whole treadmill apart and I saved everything, right? So the controller, the rheostat, so you can turn it on and off, and I just left it fully operational like that. I did take out like the safety switch, and I just wired that directly together, which you'll be able to determine from the wiring diagram, what circuit that needs to be. And then once you've got that sorted out the way you want it, you get your save all the parts from the treadmill, because you'll be able to use some, very likely. The Delta wood lathe is almost exactly set up for how this bracket is been manufactured. So the hole spacing was perfect here. I didn't have to do anything else other than just put the motor in. The bracket slides in directly underneath the other Reeves pulley for the headstock, and it rests right here on this headstock iron, which was great. So then the last thing I needed to do was get a pulley, find a cast iron pulley or some sort of pulley that I could put onto this shaft, and then I had to grind the shaft down a little bit. And I was talking to my neighbor, and he said, hey, you have a grinder and you have a motor that works. Turn the motor on, turn the grinder on, make sure the motor is going reverse direction from the way your grinder is going, and simply grind down what you need. Now, I didn't have to do very much. I only had to do, it was maybe 4/1000ths of an inch or something. So I grabbed my caliper and I just kept measuring. So the inside diameter of this 2-inch 5/8 bore die cast pulley from Chicago, which I got at Ace Hardware, I just kept measuring. How much did I need off of the shaft in order for the pulley to slide on there? So I took my time, maybe 10 minutes tops, from turning on the grinder, grinding a little bit, checking the diameter of the shaft, and then trying to slide the pulley on there. So after I was done with that, I still needed a flat spot for that drive pulley, because I needed to have some place to put that set screw. So I ground it a little bit flat on just one part of the motor, and I simply used a not a channel lock, but a vice grip. Actually, I didn't have a vice grip that worked. I just used a pair of pliers and held onto that and then ground a flat spot on the shaft. And I didn't go crazy with that. I just wanted a small area where I could mount that set screw. So then slid that on. The existing belt, you can see, is probably just a titch too short. My ideal scenario is to have this Reeves drive open up all the way so that it's not engaged at all. It's just riding at the top. And I might get a little bit longer belt for that later. But essentially, now I have a working lathe for under 30 bucks and totally variable speed. It works great. The vibration is not incredible. You can see the motor is bouncing just a titch, but not bad, and certainly manageable related to what I was turning. And of course now I can turn from, 100 RPM to a whole bunch. And I don't even know what this is, but that thing is whipping. Alright, I didn't want to make this video too long, so if you have any questions about what I did, I'd be happy to answer those questions and let you guys know what I did. Here you can see I took the Reeves pulley apart. I simply didn't need that mechanism anymore. I took that out of the variable speed controller out of the front there. One thing I did do, I just wanted to point out, and you might need to trim on your cover. You might need to trim a little bit if you're going to use a through bolt all the way through to the headstock iron. Another recommendation was to do an all thread here with a couple different nuts. So your end here, nut here, and then a nut there would have gave a really good sturdy connection to the lathe. I didn't feel like I even needed that. Like it's mounted on there very strong. So, all right, any questions, just let me know. Thanks.